Hey everyone, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Thanks so much for coming in here, guys, tonight. And thanks, replay viewers, for watching. And thank you, YouTube replay viewers, for watching. YouTube viewers, if you'd like to watch live and participate in the chat, you can download the Periscope app to your phone and search for Penguin and Fish. I'm here every night at 9:30 p.m. And if you want to watch the replay on YouTube, you can go to Penguin and Fish Movies on YouTube. Hey guys, all right, I'm going to turn you around and we will get started tonight. Hey everyone, thanks for coming in. Happy Wednesday. So we have a catch-up day today as far as the Splendid Sampler goes. We're working through the Splendid Sampler quilt along. We're doing 100 blocks and we just finished up block 47 yesterday, and the new block doesn't come out till tomorrow. So we have a day to work on blocks that we do not have done, which are a lot. I think I counted, I think I have 11 unfinished ones. So I paged through and I thought I'd work on this one from way back in time. This is block 22, Goose and the Loose. So I only got halfway done with this. Here I got it right here. Here's my half of Goose and the Loose. I think I'm gonna try and finish it. I don't know if I'll get quite there, but I'm gonna do my best to do it. So paper piecing tonight. Yep, it is definitely paper piecing. Here's the back. I still have all the paper pieces on. It's 4 quadrants of the same thing. So I have 2 more quadrants to sew. I already sewed these 2 together. So I have to do 2 and then sew those together and then sew the whole thing together. And then we're done. So alright guys, I'm going to get going right away. Again, this is block 22 of the Splendid Sampler. You can go to thesplendidsampler.com to download it. It's free. And if you're new here, my name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery patterns and kits. I'm the author of Sew and Stitch Embroidery and a fabric designer, and I'm here every night at 9:30 p.m. Central. Alright guys, let's get making. I'm going to flip you around. Alright, ooh, knitting some fingerless gloves. I have a knitting project in the wings that I'd love to get started soon, so I've been itching to knit lately. I got a couple things to finish up on a couple other projects, but man, that knitting's itching at me again. So alright, here are my last 2 pieces, and they go like this. So I've colored in these, just dark with pencil. Those are the ones that I'm going to do color for. Everything else, all the white areas, I'm doing with this white and purple polka dot. So that's my guide here. And I was looking at these today, and it looks like all these triangles are kind of the same size, or they are the same size. And I think if I cut triangles big enough, I can just cut, like I have 4 white triangles and 4 dark triangles. I can just cut a square and cut it in half to get 2 triangles. I can cut 2 squares and cut them in half to get all 4 triangles. And then same with the darks as well. So I'm going to layer 2 pieces of the white fabric and then cut a big enough square that I can cross cut at the diagonal. And then I'm going to do the same with pieces here. Oh, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't. I think maybe I'm not going to do that for the darks because I want the darks to be all different. But I am going to do that for the lights because it's kind of a bear doing these triangles. So since I'm going to do this one first, so my number 1 is one of those light triangles. So I'm going to just give that a go right away. Then I'll just set the other triangle aside for one of these, or the other triangles aside for all these, actually, is what I'm saying. All right, so let's start with, this is a large piece, so I'm trying to use it a little bit more in the Splendid Sampler lately. Let's see. Here's an edge that we've cut already. So let's fold this in half. I think we can get a square. out of here. That's plenty big. So it needs to be a square that is as big as this triangle, and the diagonal has to be, and the diagonal seam allowance, and the seam allowance here. So the piece has to be big enough for the shape plus the seam allowance, basically. So I think the center line of our square kind of has to be here. So if we do a diagonal like this, then this should be plenty big. So those are our my two squares that I'm going to do. I think this is going to work. And I'm plenty big. On these, for paper creasing, I just do the blobs. Big blobs, and that works great for me. There we go. So actually, I'm just going to take a scissors, snip this in half, and then I'm going to take my straight edge and, yep, blob it up time. I'm going to just cut this on the diagonal, and I think this will give us our 4 white triangles. I'm hoping so. So this should be plenty big. Let's see. So they should be able to cover, oh yeah, for sure. They should be able to cover our number 1 plus a generous at least 1/2 inch seam allowance, just because it's easier to have the big blobs and work from there than to have pieces that are too small. So I'm getting my add 1/4 ruler out. I'm using the add 1/4, not the add 1/8, just because our pieces are pretty big. We don't need to deal with an 1/8 inch. I'm only going to use that for that balls in the air one, and that one's not done yet either. So, all right. I think that's it for our 4 triangles. I'm going to just press them really quick here. I'm not starching them or anything. We're going to sew it right down onto the paper, so there's going to be, it's going to be plenty stable. We're not going to run into problems there. Just getting the kinks out. All right, good enough. All right, so I'm going to put these 3 to the side for later, and we'll start with this guy here. Okay, for the first one, I like putting a little dab of glue on, and I'm actually going to put it on the paper side. So this will come off later. It's just some water-soluble glue, and it'll just pop right off. I'm not worried about it at all. So I'm just going to put it just a dab on the back of that one. I'm doing this instead of pins, because pins can kind of sometimes get in the way, and this is just a lot easier. So again, I'm going to place this so that I have my generous seam allowance. I mean, our seam allowance is included on this one, so we don't really have to worry about that much. But, you know, I cut my pieces extra big just to make sure. So there, our piece number 1 is basically done. You're putting the right side towards the out, you know, so outward from the back. So basically wrong sides together, the wrong side of the paper and the wrong side. This will actually be flipped when it's complete. So we're working in reverse with these. But all right, so 1 is done. On to number 2. Now we get into the process. So the first thing is get my postcard out. And my postcard is my straight edge that I'm going to use. So I'm putting it right on the line. I'm covering up what we've already done, which is only number 1. And I'm folding on the line in between the 1 and 2. So the 2 is exposed, and we're just folding all the way along that line. Then I'm going to grab my add 1/4. And again, you don't need one of these rulers. It just makes the process go faster, and there's less thinking involved, because you just, it has a little lip on it. I don't know if you can see there, it has a little lip. And you just butt it up against your postcard that's still on the fold. Grab your rotary cutter, cut That's garbage, and now we have our perfect seam allowance. Our perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance, because this is the add a quarter. All right, now we need a little square for number 2 here, and that's one of our colors. So I've been using my scraps. So let's just, I want to see what I have done already. Here I put my, I don't want it to be exactly the same as this, when it won't be, you know, it's all going to be different, but I just want to grab a scrap out of here, and this one's kind of a nice big scrap. I might as well just use this one. Ooh, let's use a kitty. I like this. Ooh, this piece might not be big enough. So the piece needs to be big enough to, again, be the size of your piece plus a generous seam allowance, and I'm not sure our seam allowance is going to be big enough here. No, I'm going to say no. Oh, but this might work for one of these side pieces, so I still will get to use this piece. So I'm going to just set that out on the side. Let's use, oh, here's another little piece. Let's use this. This will be plenty big. And you know what? I'm going to just use this straight edge that already exists for it. It's okay that it's a giant blob. I'm not worried about that at all. So let's just line this up here. And I know this is big enough, so I don't need to do my testing. I know it's big enough to cover our number 2 area. So I'm just going to, because it's just a large piece. I'm going to line this up, right sides together, and we will sew our first line. I'm kind of speeding through this again tonight. I just, you know, I'm in the get it all done mode. Here I'm just trying to get it so it's not so bright over here. Periscope doesn't want to conform to my ways anymore, so this it's just going to be bright. I don't know, since the Periscope update, it's just been a hair weird for me here. Let's see if I can get it now. No, it just wants to stay bright. Oh, there we go. There, darkened a little. So I'm going to stitch on this line, and I'm actually going to go into the seam allowance a little bit too. But I want to go right on my line. All right, and I'm also going to back stitch, or back tack it. All right, stitching between 1 and 2. I think this might have been our first paper piece block for the Splendid Sampler. I can't quite remember, but it kind of feels, it feels early. This is block 22, so I mean, it was pretty early. All right, I'm going to snip. I didn't really need to snip that long one off just now, but oh well. I'm going to snip close to the paper, snip these threads off right away. These will just really get in your way if you don't snip them right away. Got a little funny loop in there. One little lost stitch, so hopefully I don't have more of those. All right, so I'm going to the pressing station now. So I always think of this as like a triad of stuff. You have your folding, your postcard area down here and picking your fabrics and getting your blobs ready. Then you have the sewing, then pressing, you know, blob, sewing, pressing, and then you just keep going around in this circle here. So we're at the pressing part. So I'm going to put the side with the ink on it down just so it doesn't hurt my iron. And then our seam's exposed. So I'm going to just give that a press to start out with, just to set the seam. Yeah, the seam's being weird, but I'm thinking it's going to work its way out. All right, so I'm going to just finger press it first. And then we will sew it, or press it. And this is our piece number 2. All right, that's 1 and 2. Doesn't look like much, but we're gonna get there. You know, you can see our giant blob. This will end up being our little triangle. So all right, let's move on to 3. All right, so for 3, we're back to the light colored fabric, the white. And I don't think I have any scraps of that, so I am going to have to keep cutting from my giant piece here. All right, let's get this down here. Yep, this is where the magic starts, when blobs turn into perfect seam allowances and perfect everything. So, all right, now I need my postcard again. I'm going to put the postcard in between now 2 and 3. So it's really in between 3, which is the block we want to do now, and everything that came before. So we're going to put the postcard over the everything came before part. And we're not going to worry about any of these. We're going to ignore that everything else exists except for the 3 and then what came before. So I'm going to put it on that line. And we are going to fold it all the way along that line, all the way down. Then again, we're going to grab the add a quarter. And remember that giant blob we had? Now we're going to cut that. We're going to cut all the way across into here too. And there's our super perfect seam allowance again. So even though we made a blob, you know, that blob's being shaped just perfectly. All right. Let's get a little piece for number 3 here. So again, I need a piece that's as big as the shape plus a good size seam allowance blob around it. And it looks like we got something started here. I'm going to just cut all the way up here because I'm thinking we can use this piece for another little, like for the number 4 or something. So let's just give that a try. All right, and I'm going to use this as my straight edge too. I cut it straight enough, even though I did it by hand. So, all right, here's our straight edge that was in between 2 and 3 there. So that's the straight edge that we want to throw this on. Right sides together. I'm going to just go way down here. Now again, I want to check to make sure, okay, so I need it to cover here plus a generous seam allowance. So I need it to go at least down to here in the back. And I think we're pretty good. Let's give us a little bit more just in case. All right, so I'm just sew along the line. I will cut this off and use this for my other side, but I'm going to sew first. So let's head over here. All right, now I'm going to sew along that between 3 and everything that came before line. So again, when I get to the seam allowance, I'm going to sew into the seam allowance, but if I'm not in a seam allowance, I'm going to stop right on the edge. So I'm not going to go into the number 5 here. I'm going to stop right here and back tack it. All right. So sewing right on the line. It's awesome. I just think it's like a coloring book where it's all laid out for you, you know, I'm just trying to get it so it's a little not so bright for you guys again. There we go. Like it's all laid out for you. You just color within the lines basically, and in this case you stitch right on the line. It's really, I mean, this is how you would get like a little kid to learn how to sew. Just draw some lines on some fabric or paper or something, and then just follow the line. That's exactly what we're doing here. Just see if you can stitch on the line. All right, I'm back tacking. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's still getting jumbled. I'm getting some weird loopies on the back of my fabric here, so I don't know. I think maybe I should rethread my machine. Oops, I'm gonna snip these ends off. I changed my thread over from last night where we had the darker thread. Oh, you didn't even use thread? You just stitched on a line? Well, that's interesting. That takes a whole lot of variables out when you don't have to worry about the thread. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, this is doing some weird loopy thing. I don't know. Anyone know a lot about sewing machines? here's where here's what's happening. Since last night, I'm getting these weird, just like caught loops on every once in a while. The tension's good. I think I'm just gonna take the bobbin out and throw it back in again. Maybe something's just getting caught. It's probably time to clean this out again too. I need to get like a little brush, or people have been recommending maybe the bobbin was threaded loose. Oh, that could be. Clean the bobbin area. Yeah, so that's what I need to do, I think, is clean the bobbin area. I need to get like a little brush though. If the loops are against the bobbin side, oh, the loops are on, they're on the bobbin side. So just rethread the machine in general. All right, let's just do that and see if it works. They are on the bobbin side where the loops are getting weird. But let's just rethread the whole thing quick. The tension should be good. It's not consistent. It's like a couple giant loops every once in a while. So it's not like it's a general lift your presser foot. It is lifted already. I'm gonna lower it just to thread it. All right. Let's see if just rethreading it woke it up a little. Otherwise, I think it's good enough that we'll keep going. Needle might need changing. Ugh, that's true. All right, if it keeps going, we'll just see if it's good enough. Otherwise, yeah, I'll switch a needle. All right, where are we at? I think, yeah, see, so I don't know if you guys can tell. Let's try and get in focus. But yeah, it's consistent. Like the tension's actually very good, except for it'll get like, it has like these two little loops that came. If you lower the presser foot, the thread can't seat in the tension. But there's only up and down. It sounded ticky last night. Yeah, that's just because I'm using a foot that wasn't really made for this. It's like tapping on it funny. Sounds like the needle is just looping every now and then. All right, let's just run some fabric through here. Oops, let's turn it on. Let's run two. All right, that probably wasn't the best fabric to run through because it's full of fabric. Yeah, let's try an actual piece of fabric. Let's see. Let's trim this little piece off here. We won't need him anymore. Otherwise, I don't think it's doing it enough that it's going to bother me. Like I think my piece is going to still hold together, and then I'll just have to look at it in a little bit. Yeah, see, now it's looking okay. All right, so let's just keep going and see what happens. How about that? All right, let's press. Ooh, we are way out of focus. There we go. Okay. And finger press it. Maybe the bobbin was just being grouchy. That's what I hope is going on. Look, you can start to see a triangle come out of that blob now, which is always kind of fun. All right, and there we are. That's piece 3. We're starting to get our triangle in here. All right, so I'm going to trim off this little bit up here so we can use it again. And, you know, it only needs to go to the seam allowance, so I'm just going to cut it right here. And this is a silly tiny scissors to be doing it with, but oh well. There we go. All right, but here's our scrap, and I I think this will be big enough yet for number 4. So let's start by doing our folding. So 4 is the light colored fabric again. So again, we're putting this in between 4 and everything that came before the line. So 4 is exposed and everything else is underneath the postcard. So right on that line. And again, we're going to ignore all the other numbers when we fold. We're just going to fold it all the way along that line. And then grab the add a quarter. And perfect seam allowance. So there's the rest of that crazy blob. So you can make blobs and still have perfect seam allowances. It's the best. So fun. That's the magic of paper piecing for sure. All right, see, so there, here's our straight edge, and that's what this number 4 has to go on. So I just want to double check. So it looks like it should be big enough. It's even kind of the shape. So it needs to be big enough to be this size plus the generous seam allowance. Seam allowance is already included here. There's enough at the bottom, and there's plenty over here. Great, this is going to work out perfectly. So let's just flip it up, match our straight edges. Yep, we should be good to go. Let's see if stitching works this time. All right, so this time I'm gonna, again, I don't want to go into the 5. I'm gonna stop right at that corner, but down here I'm gonna go into the seam allowance a little just because I can at the seam allowance. All right, and I'm back tacking. That time it looks great, so good. Hopefully just the putting the bobbin in did the job. When I took the bobbin out, it felt loose, like it wasn't stuck in, you know, the whole contraption. It was just loose, so I'm wondering if that was the problem. It wasn't properly in the case, it didn't seem. Because usually when I pull out the bobbin, it's still in the case, you know, the thread's coming out in that spot in the case. I'm sure this got a name, that area of the bobbin. Like the tension thing. All right, let's press. Give it a little press there, and I, again, fold it with the fingers first, just because I've only sewn from here to there, so if I just press, the iron's not going to know what to do with all this stuff that isn't attached to anything up here, so if I finger press it, I can kind of give it a little guide to that little, to stay straight when I press. That's why I finger press first. All right, next. I'm thinking we might only get one of these done. If I remember right, I think we only did one of these a night. But we'll see. Number 5. I'm going kind of slow tonight. I was pretty tired. I even took a nap this afternoon. Actually, like right before I came online here. And I kind of rarely take naps. I'm not sure I've been sleeping all that well, so I don't know. I think it's the weather and humidity and all that stuff is just, I don't like it. I know, it'll be one more closer. That is true. I will be a little bit closer to be finished with this block. So that'll be nice. All right, 5 is some of our fun fabric again. And you know what? This piece is kind of screaming at me. I think we use this one. It just kind of popped out at me. Let's use that. It's plenty big too, I think. Ooh, it's it's close that way, so I'm gonna have to stitch it this way. So again, I need it to be as big as this number 5 plus the generous seam allowance, and we got it here. Yeah, it rained here too. It definitely cooled it down, but I think it's supposed to get super duper hot real quick here again, so I don't think the cool is gonna last very long, but I think I might. Hopefully I don't have to turn the air conditioner on upstairs. I think that might be actually a big part of our problem. It's just loud, and then it dries out the air in the bedroom, and then, you know, we just wake up kind of with sore throats, and it's not very fun. So I don't think we sleep very well when it turns air conditioner weather. All right, sewing on the 5 line. And this time I don't have any seam allowance. There we go. So I'm going to start and stop at interior points. So I'm going to back tack for sure. Okay. Although, you know, we did cut those triangles for the white triangles for the other part of the block, the other segment of these. So maybe we can get started on that tonight. Oh yeah, this is working now. I don't have any of those loops anymore. So taking out the bobbin, rethreading, that did the trick. So maybe we'll get started on that second segment. We're on 5 and there's only 8, so I think we might have time to do that. Then we're even a little more further done, which would be nice. I love this fabric. It is so wacky. Yeah, I'm glad it cooperated too. It's always a big, like, exclamation point when something goes on with the sewing machine, because it's always like, oh, can I figure this out or not? And I don't know, sewing machine stuff can get a little hairy sometimes. All right, so 6 and 5. Actually, between 6 and everything that came before. So just 3 more. Oops, there we go. It is wiggling on me. Add a quarter. And road cars over here. All right, this is a big enough scrap that it can go back in my scrap bin. Okay, so 6 is another like straight line deal that I like to do with the white fabric. So let's get that out again. We've been kind of working in this area down here. Let's go down here some more. So 6. Again, it needs to be as big as this plus the generous seam allowance. So, and we have another one here. Maybe I can try and sneak it out of this area yet. All right. All right, this is a little cut in it, but it might be just big enough to do this strip. So I'm gonna go out a little bit. I missed a little bit of what you guys are talking about. So I'm just gonna go whoosh and hope that that's enough. Just trying to snip it there and up here. All right, there we go. Cutting blobs. All right. So I'm going to use that as my straight edge. Again, I just freehand cut that, but that's okay. Try to explain the process to my hubs. Oh, the paper piecing process? Should give it a try. All right, I'm going to align this here. It does have this little tick mark in it, but I think it's going to be at the angled piece that we don't care, so I think we're going to be fine. And you know what? I think I'm going to trim this right now. I don't know. Here, my big scissors. I know, it's kind of magical, this paper piecing process. All right, there we go. I'll use this for number 7. All right, sewing machine. I know, I almost like it just because of the magic of it. I mean, I actually do like it because of it takes all the parts out of sewing blocks that I kind of don't like. Like, you know, the cutting, you know, here I just get to cut blobs. I don't have to cut precise blocks, precise rectangles and stuff. And, oh, good, I'm glad this is helping you. But yeah, it takes, you know, it takes the measuring out, it takes the scant quarter sewing out because I just sew on the line. So besides the magic, I mean, it would have had me at the magic because magic's awesome. I love all these, the magic of like learning new things, the magic of knowing how to put together these itty bitty pieces that there's no way someone's gonna cut and sew these together, and a master must have done that, you know what I mean? But nope, it's just paper piecing. I like knowing that, you know? It's like a secret power. So that would have been enough for me, but the fact that it gets rid of all the crap that I don't like doing, especially in sewing, or I haven't learned to love yet. How about that? I haven't learned to love the cutting and the pressing. Well, I guess we're pressing here, but the cutting yet and the precision in the sewing. You know, if I can get rid of those things, then that's just a super duper extra bonus, and that's what paper piecing does. Plus, you get the magic trip. Blob trim, exactly. Blob trim, sew, iron, and repeat. Alright. We are getting there with this guy. Oh, look at our cute little guys. Cute little triangles popping up. I just love, too, that you can get so intricate, and it's just, you can get so intricate, but still have perfect seam allowances and everything. I love that. And the blobs have it. All right, and we already have this piece cut, basically from, because it was the same as 6, so we cut extra. All right, so postcard, here you are. The only thing that I don't have quite down yet with paper piecing is having like my postcard and my rotor cutter and my add a quarter and my scissors all in the same spot. Like it all ends up everywhere, and I have to find it again each time. So I haven't got that down quite yet. But luckily it's a small space here, and it can't go far. It's getting a little buried under this big piece of white fabric though that I've been using. Perfect seam allowance. Those are good looking scraps yet. Okay. And then here's our straight edge. This should be good to go right away. Oh, this even crosses over the whole thing, so I don't have to worry about it at all. But just as a reminder, if this was like a smaller piece like this that I had, remember to not just plop it on here. You have to remember what side it is on. So like the 7's on this side, so I wouldn't have wanted to accidentally put it over here. So just, you know, you still have to pay attention where you're kind of putting it along this line. In this case, it's stretching the whole way, so we're fine. All right. Oh, flying geese. Oh, the other kind of high. H-I, high geese. All right. Sewing this one, and then we just have number 8, and we still got a bunch of time yet, so I think we'll keep going. See how far we get on the second piece. I don't think we'll finish that. I mean, I don't know. We'll see where we get. It would be awesome to finish this block, but I think it may be one more super short session. But I have a whole lot of other paper piecing to go to, so we could have another paper piecing night where I finish this one up and get going on another. Like I got the dress to do yet, and that around that circle falls in the air. I got that to do yet. Those are both paper pieced. Is there one more? I feel like there's one more that I don't have done, but I think maybe this is the one more. I'm doing the one more right now. Yeah, so those are my 3. No, I did not finish the squirrel applique yet either. So on that one, oh, I have a whole pile of appliques to do, that's for sure. But I was kind of in the, I thought this one would be the easiest to get done. Actually, the squirrel might have been easiest to get done. Oh, you finished the dress yesterday. Oh, that's exciting. That's a big accomplishment. That dress one had a lot of pieces and different angles and all that. Yeah. So the squirrel one, actually, that probably wouldn't have taken me too long to finish. Oh, 6 behind. Hey, that ain't bad at all. Like I said, I think this is my 11th behind one. This is my most behind one, though. This is block 22. I think this is the farthest back of my behind ones I have. Oh, thanks so much! Yeah, the squirrel one just turned out kind of crazy. That, all I need to do is stitch down everything, so that might have been and I was probably going to use that gray thread, too, so I should have probably just kept my gray thread in the machine and done that one tonight, but I don't know. This one felt like the right one to do, so doing this instead. All right, one more little piece, and we get a pick from the fabric bin again. Let's see, what do we got in here? We could do one of these, I don't think that piece, oh, this piece, oh, this piece might be just big enough because it includes the seam allowance here. Ooh, yeah, that's not quite big enough. Oh, watch him do well. Well, that's nice. I appreciate that. Oh, this piece is just a hair short. It would probably be fine, but it's just a tiny hair short. Next. What else do we got in here? This looks like it may not be big enough either, but let's give it a try. It'll be like wide enough to get the seam allowances in, but I don't think we'll get the whole. Yeah, I don't think we're not gonna get the top of the triangle, so that's not gonna work. Here, this piece is big enough. Let's just use this. Let's use this and move on. All right. I think let's go down here. It's already, oops, sorry guys. It's already kind of at this angle, so I'll be using up this without wasting, I'll still have all this up here to use. All right, yeah, we're doing this. Number 8. And this guy will be done. Oh, we have to turn it down too, and then it'll be done for real. All right, let's get over here. All right, this is at the seam allowance, so I'm gonna go into that seam allowance again. I know, woohoo is right. This one seems like it would be pretty quick to get done, these little sections, but it is still 8 pieces in these sections. So, I mean, it's not like there's just 3. I mean, one of these sections is about the same as an entire pencil from that pencil block, because I think the pencil block only had like 8 or 9 pieces. So even though this looks simple, like simple shapes, and it's smaller than those pencils, it's actually the same amount of work. Alright. Oh, hey, I ordered some painting stuff, so I can oil paint outside and just like do like little paintings. So I'll have to show you guys that one of these nights and maybe try and do like a painting. I even got like a stand for the camera and stuff too, so I'm super excited for that. But yeah, it's quite the contraption. I'm still kind of putting it together, but I'll be sure to show you it. So here we go. We're done basically. We just have to trim, and that's going to make this final triangle here. So I'm going to trim with a real ruler again. So to trim, I am not paying attention to the outside lines. I'm using these inside lines as my guide. So I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch from the inside lines. Just because my inside lines that are actually printed. Ooh, I need to go all the way up. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna trim this piece off because this is a good piece of fabric that I don't want to hurt really. So there we go. There. The whole the printer ink ran and what? Aww, that's sad. Did you try using some of that color catchers? That might get the ink out. Color catchers from what brand does that again? It's like a normal grocery store thing. Not Tide, but oh, Shout. There it is. Yeah, Shout. That's it. It's one of their products. I have some just in case it happens with one of the blocks here. I was using embroidery floss that I thought would bleed, so I got some of that just to test it out, but it ended up not bleeding, so I didn't, which is, good, I suppose, but I didn't get to test the product. But I don't know, people seem to think it works well, so you might want to try that. Oh, for toddler clothes and lights and dark colors. Oh, well, that's good to know. All right, last side. Oh, you haven't seen them at the store. You can always order them from Amazon or something too. But yeah, that's a bummer though to redo a block. All right, so here I'm liking how this is looking. I didn't even think about what two would go in the middle, but I really like these two in the middle like that. So all right, we just have this last one, and you know what? I think I am going to start it. We are getting kind of late. Like we could kind of end it now, but. You know what? I think I might just stop here. This is it's kind of nice to start and stop these at the same time. So, yeah, I know we need to do a marathon one of these days, but I think tonight we'll stop. Next time we'll, because if I do this one, if I start this one, I'm going to want to keep going. And if I finish this one, I'm going to want to sew the whole thing together. And by that time, it'll be like 11 p.m. here. So I think it's probably smartest just to give it a rest. I wasn't able to finish it all at once, but oh well, we did get another block together and just one left. And I do have a couple of these cut already, so I will keep this with the block for next time. So, woo! A little bit more done, and then we have a new block tomorrow, so this will go back in the unfinished pile, but oh well, that's okay. Alright guys, I'm gonna flip you around. Hey there. So, I was standing up, I think I pretty much stand up the entire time for paper piecing. Oh, I might sit down when I sew, but I'm pretty much standing, I think, this whole time. So here we go. Here's the little piece that we did today. So it is still pretty little. And then here's what it'll look like together. I'm excited. This one's still really fun. I really like the look of this, the Goose and the Loose. And the name is cute. So, all right, this will go up on the YouTube channel, Penguin and Fish Movies, tonight. So it'll probably be up way in the early hours. And then tomorrow, new block day. I don't know if there's been any pre-release or anything like that, so it'll be a surprise for us tomorrow. So thanks, guys, and join me tomorrow to do the new block. Good night.